editor KYLIE here. So obviously I had a whole beautiful intro for this, but the video itself became super long. So what you're about to see is part one of the video tour of all the journals that I have in my shop. Because way back when I did the first one, which you'll see here, I didn't even have all the classes made. And since then, there have been a lot of changes to my journals. So if you're interested in purchasing any of the products or why I've created them the way that I have, this video is for you. I totally understand this is going to be very self-promotional and I'm not normally like that. I appreciate it if you do stick around and watch the video because it does help the algorithm, but I also totally understand if this is not your cup of tea. If you're into journaling or you're the note taker, you're the designated note taker, you might want to check some of these out. I'll put timestamps below so that you can skip to the portion that you're most interested in. If you have any questions about anything in this video, please just drop a note down in the comments. I will be happy to talk to you about it. If you have any ideas for future notebooks or future products you think would be useful, also drop me a note. Either in the comments, you can email me. I'm always looking for new ideas, always trying to expand our repertoire. Apologies, it's so self-promotional, but if you do purchase, and I'll keep links down below for you, it really helps me out. It helps my family out. I actually hired my sister in the last year. And so now the two of us, that's all we do is make notebooks and sell them. Any support you can, even if it's just sending the video to someone or the website to someone, is super helpful. And I appreciate you so much. We'll just, dive right in. Yeah. Let's dive in. First one are the player's notebooks. So I actually have two versions. All the journals that you're going to see today are from my stash that I take to conventions and stuff. These are all my display journals. Most of them are in pretty good shape, but many hands have touched these, flipped through them at conventions. So, and I also have stickers in them, things like that to kind of show them off a little bit. So just keep that in mind. If you see something that looks like a blemish, most of them are not going to be like that. In fact, they shouldn't be like that at all unless something happened during shipping. These are the two that I recommend for anybody who doesn't know what class they are doing. This one is the first player's version that I made. This is not the first journal I made, but this is the first player's one I made. We called this one the classic, and you'll see the difference in the inside. The second one I made is this one. Again, both of these work for any class. I don't like the classic one, but that's because it's me. So, disc bound notebooks, you can do like you do with ring bound ones or spiral bound. You can flip them on the back so you can have it in a more compact fashion if you would like. So that's what we're gonna do just to save space on the camera. The foil covers are different. I used to hand foil these, and that was an absolute nightmare. We now use a company called Cat Print to print them. They are also a small business and I absolutely love them. The people there are super nice and very communicative and I highly recommend them. They print all of our covers now. They don't punch the covers. I might add, everything you see is still touched by us because we still have to punch everything and put them in the packaging. But this is the classic version. So all of my notebooks for players have two dry erase sheets. This is the character sheet for this version. Your skills are here, your different stats here, HP, languages, all of that. I made this one in more of a cartoony style, and then I didn't like it after a while, so that's why I have a redesign. But lots of people like this version. You have a whole section for your background, your traits, you can keep your treasure and your money here. You have your spell list here. One thing that I did not include in any of these that I often get asked is, where do you put your spell slots? I should have thought of that, right? I should have put that in here. For me personally, when I use my Druid one, I just use tally marks up here. So I put how many I have normally. Say for level 2, I normally have 4. And then right next to this, I would tally how many I used that long rest. So if I used 1, tally mark, etc., etc. That is just the spell list. So then you have your different places for your spells. So you can mark, what I normally do is color this in VSM, right? verbal semantic material. You can put whatever materials you need on this line. If it's concentration, I'll color this in. That just helps me visually see it at a quick glance, and then all of your different aspects are there. The big thing about this and all of these journals is that I actually have two sections in here, a people archive and a location archive. And both of them are very similar in structure, but you have a people archive where you can even draw in a little picture, or I just write because I'm not a very good at drawing people or characters. So I just write the little description in here and then all the details. And you can do the same for location with the city name and etc. But the idea behind this and all my journals is that here is where your session notes actually start. So when you sit down at the table, you start here. During the session, I just dump everything that your DM is telling you, all the details. On this version, the classic version, I include a little key to help you, so you can very quickly use this to make different notation. You can make your own though as well. You don't have to use what I've given you. If my DM drops a name like a location or a person, I might drop it over here, but most of the time I'm too busy writing down notes to worry about this section. Normally what I do at the end is I go through and take whatever is written in here, jot it down in a more comprehensible way, and then I take what's in this box, so this is locations, and then I go to the location section and I write all those details in here. That way, when I'm like halfway through this book, 10, 15 sessions from now, which can be anywhere from 2 months to 2 years, when they drop the name of that person or that location, I'm not flipping through hundreds of note pages. I'm literally flipping through 1 or 2 in the location or people section. So that's generally what I use this or have designed this notebook for. The last section in this notebook is like a map section. You just have a dot grid. You could just draw your dungeon as you go through it on here. If you're not using a virtual tabletop or any map making thing, you're just doing theater of the mind. Or if you want a bigger picture of how all these rooms in this dungeon connect. Normally when I'm playing, I have it set up so that my session note page, you can just take it out, right? I put it to the side, and then I have my character sheet like this. So usually this is how I'm writing. I have this right here, I slide it in and out depending on when I need to take notes, and I have my character sheet here. For this version, I was doing it like this because most of the stuff you need to know is on this side until it comes to combat, right? Your weapons and all of that. So that was the classic. Comparing the classic though to the Art Deco one. So again, I've put stickers on here, which we also sell, and a bookmark in here, which we also sell, but yours would not come with that unless you purchased it. The character sheet itself, again, you have your 2 dry erase sheets, but everything's just visually a little bit cleaner. I wouldn't say it's minimal because it does have a lot of artwork and design, but comparing the two, it's just 2 different styles for the same information. So that is your character sheet. You've got the background information, backstory, treasure, etc., etc. Then your spells again. So what I do for this is the right side I put how many spell slots I have. On the left I'm tallying. And then the spell cards are also very similar. So you've got the different verbal semantic material. You can color them in. You can checkbox here, whatever makes it easier for you to see it. Then you've got your people archive. But if you really liked the other setup, you could actually buy them. So I sell everything in page packs too. So if you ever need refills or something, you could do that. But you could put this in here if you really wanted to have the pictures instead of just the text. So just keep that in mind. Everything is interchangeable. Full locations and then session notes. Again, I'm using this as a display, so I've got extra stickers and stuff in here, but it's the same idea, right? So on the one side, I'm writing all my notes. Usually I take this page out, put it to the side, and then keep writing. And then the other side is where I have locations, people, encounters, treasure, loot. And then I also have a summary section because at the end, I like to just summarize what happened in a couple words. That way I know without reading through all of my notes, what important things happened. And then of course you have dungeon maps. This one's not dot grid, this is just regular grid. So again, if you liked the dot grid, you could swap them in or swap either way. That's the two ones, and both of these work with any class. If you don't know what class you're doing, or if you're multi-classing, you want to go with this because it's just easier to put in all that information here. However, I also have journals for every single class, so let's just like go through some of the differences. First one we have is Artificer. This is the only other class outside of the initial player's handbook that I have. I've had a lot of requests for Blood Hunter, but technically I think I'm not really allowed, and even with Artificer, there's only so much I can put in here. For a lot of my other classes, I can include all of the SRD like spells. Like if you're a druid, you just prep those every day. You know all of your spells. With Artificer, technically you do too. You know all of your spells. However, most of the spells are not in the SRD, and I didn't want to give you half a list. I just did not include those at all. You can thank the OGL for that one. But as you can see, the cover is obviously the biggest difference. All of them are going to be different colors. People ask a lot if I can do them in different colors. I cannot because they are already printed and made this way. However, if you really like the Artificer one, or if you bought one of the plain ones and you know later on that you want to be an Artificer, you can always buy the individual covers in the shop. Just keep that in mind. So everything in the back is the same. You've got your dungeon maps, you've got your session notes, you've got your archives, you've got your spell cards. For most of them, I include a little section for your cantrips because I can look up and see how many cantrips your class is going to need. And then I also have included spell slots. Now this is something I'm changing as we go because some of these have been printed and I haven't sold out of the first running. But as I print the next running of notebooks, I'll be adding this spell slot section in. So it might not be on all of these. This is where we're moving going forward. The other major differences, so you still have your spell list, you have your background information. All of the classes have a special page for writing down your features and traits, which is not included in the plain ones, but you can just buy either blank notebook paper that I have in the shop, or you could just buy the character sheets if you want these specific pages. But here's where all the differences come in. Every character sheet is tailored to that class. So this one has an infusions counter because artificers infuse items. If we look at the Barbarian, it covers different, it's blue, but we have a rage counter. So you can count how many rages you have and how many you've used this long rest. So here's Bard. Bard, you have a special tracker for Bardic Inspiration. Cleric and Druid are where it gets a little crazy. Paladin is in this group as well. You guys already know your spells. You just prepare them every day. For Cleric, you don't have anything that you have to really track. For Druid, we're gonna see Wild Shape in here. You see a Wild Shape tracker in here. For Cleric, Druid, and Paladin, I've put your full SRD spell list in here. One caveat, sometimes the text gets small, or I've put the page number from the player's handbook in here, which may or may not be 100% accurate all the time if they update the books. At least you have a place to look, and most of the important details are going to be on here for you. So that's the big thing. And again, you have your special features and traits for your divine domain or your druid circle. For fighter, again, pretty red cover. You've got a tracker with a little checkbox for your second win and your action surge. So I just use the dry erase sheets and do a little check mark for that. Monk, orange cover, and you have a key point tracker. Paladin, again, you're gonna have all your spells in here, but you have a Divine Sense tracker and a Lay on Hands. Also a little thing about Divine Smite, because I feel like I was always looking that up, but I don't play Paladins regularly. And then all of your spell lists are in here. You also have a shortened spell list here because you don't learn, typically a Paladin does not learn spells past 5th level. If you ever needed to, you could always add more pages in though. Got the Ranger one, we got a green cover, here. Nothing to track on this side. However, if you are a Beastmaster, you have a whole section for your companion stats and what they can do. So this one is particularly different, and I offer, if you buy a Ranger pack, it comes with more companion stats. So if your companion dies, you have the ability to add those in later too. We got our Rogue. We've got stickers on the inside here. So you have a place to track what kind of sneak attack dice you have, and a place that tells you about your cunning action. Now, I don't put anything that might change after level 3, because I feel like after level 3 you tend to pick your circle or your domain, your archetype. That can change what you need to track. That's why I give you a whole section to write all of that in. Here's the Sorcerer one, blue cover, and you have a place for sorcery points. Down here I also have the thing about flexible casting and what it costs and that kind of thing, so you can create your spell slots with that. Here is the Warlock one. This one is similar to the fighter, or not the fighter, the Paladin. So you don't have anything to track here, unlike Paladin, but like Paladin, you don't have as many options for spells, but you do get spells from your evocations. So I made a whole little box just to track where those are coming from down here. And then here's Wizard. This, you have a place to track your arcane recovery in here. That's all the basic classes in a nutshell. That's it. That's all the class-based notebooks that I offer. The next video I will release will talk about our DM notebooks. Following that, we'll probably talk about all the things that aren't D&D related, like my farming sim notebook, my Pathfinder notebook, that kind of thing, as well as just accessories. But I don't want to bombard you, so I will probably spread these out over the next few months. But if you have any questions, as always, let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear your feedback on them, of course. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.